Welcome back to Main Street Sports Clarksville. My name is Brady McAtamney. Happy to be back after a quick 1 week break last week. We got a fun show lined up for you today, including, as always, a great guest. We're going to be talking with the head coach of the newest football team in Clarksville, a team that has a lot of excitement around it right now. We've been hearing a lot of great feedback over this preseason, the workouts and their scrimmages. It's Chad Watson, head coach of the Kirkwood Cobras. Chad, how you doing today?
Good, Brady. Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. So one thing that I know you guys are absolutely pumped about is that this week you guys are practicing at Kirkwood. Yeah, I know you guys have been doing practices at Austin P over the summer so far, but you're finally at your home field for the first time this week. What's that been like?
Oh man, it's been awesome. We told our kids when we went out there Monday, like, hey, just we're lucky enough that this team's always going to be remembered as the first team, and like anytime we get a new occasion, like we get to be on the practice field for the first time, we want to pause and think about it and just appreciate all the stuff we have. And as a coaching staff, it's a blessing for us because now we don't lose that hour that we've been losing, or close to an hour every day that we spend on the bus, and now we can get in the weight room, we can get in the film room, and spend a little more time diving deeper into our scheme and what we're doing.
Yeah, spend that time maybe doing things a little more worthwhile that can maybe make the Cobras a little bit better on the football field instead of spending that on the bus. One thing that I've noticed that you guys have talked about a lot over the offseason is you've talked about being Kirkwood men. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like playing for Kirkwood is something that we want to have a positive impact on our guys moving forward, not just their football career. So we're talking to our guys about making good decisions and representing your family and your family's last name and representing this football program and doing everything that we can do in the right way and doing it with class. And also with that, we're holding our kids to a really, really high standard. And part of Kirkwood men is we're going to treat our players like men. We're going to have high expectations of them. We're going to treat them with respect. They're going to treat us with respect. So Kirkwood men is really a well-rounded thing about just our culture and the way we want to treat each other and the way we want to represent Kirkwood.
So is it kind of like a pride thing, being proud of the name on the front of the jersey, but also on the back?
Yeah, for sure. And it's doing the right thing at all times, even when you're not out in public. Like how are you treating your parents at home? Are you treating them the right way? And just things like that. Like I don't when we talk to our guys, like we don't think you can be a problem in the classroom. You behave a certain way, like your character is who you are. Like you can't be a great football player and be a terrible student. Like you got to do everything to the best of your ability and have high standards for yourself in every phase of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. And you guys are now a couple scrimmages deep into this preseason. You still got another one coming up this week. And then, of course, the Jamboree next week. You guys played Green Hill last week, who, is a program that was kind of in a similar situation as you guys, just brand new, opening up a couple years ago, and has already kind of turned into a bit of a powerhouse in the Midwest. And Maplewood, actually, just on Tuesday. How did those scrimmages go? And, what's some of the feedback that you guys got from some of those schools?
The Green Hill scrimmage, the main thing we wanted to see was like our guys competing against a good 6A program. Coach Crouch, like you said, man, they've been successful really, really quick. They've kind of laid up a blueprint of what we want to chase. But I thought our guys competed really well. A lot of things that we can grow from and get better, and that's the main thing you want to see in the preseason. But number one, our kids competed. We made plays when the opportunity was there, which is positive, but we also missed on 3 or 4 different opportunities where we could have had explosive plays offensively and too many penalties. But from that to scrimmage 2, we went from 4 offensive penalties. Scrimmage 1, we got it down to 1 in scrimmage 2. So we cleaned up a lot of things, and that's really what we wanted to see against Maplewood is can we go out and execute, not hurt ourselves, and play just as good as we did against Green Hill, if not better. Like we just want to see continued improvement.
Yeah, that's absolutely good to hear. Penalties, you mentioned being a big thing that you guys have been looking at. Um, do you guys have kind of a young roster right now? I know that's kind of going to happen a lot when you're a brand new school opening up. Like when you're starting 11 on both sides, are you running a lot of, freshmen, sophomores, or kind of what's the age group looking like?
We have 5 seniors on a roster of the 75 kids that we got. All 5 of those guys are going to contribute a lot. Some of them are going to be starting on both sides of the ball. I think we got 11 juniors. The quantity is not great of our upperclassmen, but I think we got some really good quality in those 2 classes. But we do have, I think we got offensively. We do not have a freshman on the field currently. Defensively, we got a couple freshmen that are getting reps in the secondary. But overall, offensive line is mostly juniors and sophomores. Our skill guys, right now, first group, all 4 receivers are seniors, and we got a junior quarterback and a junior running back. So we're not as quite as young with our first group, but when we get down into the 2s, that's when you really see the use of what we're coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people who know, Chad Watson football knows that, there's going to be some pounding the rock, maybe a little Tennessee influence in there. How has this personnel look as far as, playing your brand of football?
Honestly, man, right now, we're just going to try to, and not just right now, but all year, we're going to try to take what the defense gives us. We want to be balanced. I mean, I think if anything, like in years past at Gallatin, we've maybe been too one-dimensional. So we have to be able to do both. If the box is heavy, we got to be able to throw it and get the ball to our guys in space. And if we have a light box, I'm fully confident in our running back and our run game that we can run the football too. So it's just not being predictable, always keeping the defense on their toes is what we're really, really, really looking to do.
Yeah, and last time we talked, it was I think the first week of practice. So you guys were still, obviously figuring out a lot of things, still figuring out what you got. Now that we're a couple weeks deep, who are some names, some players that have really jumped out at you at practice and guys that you can see, really being part of that, an integral part of that first Kirkwood football team?
Trevor Newell's one of the first ones to come to mind. He plays their tight end on offense, also starts at inside linebacker. I thought he had a really good scrimmage last night. Perry Cross-Sneed is going to be a running back, also inside linebacker defensively. He's done a good job. Lee Buggs has really emerged as our quarterback. He's done a tremendous job in growing, and we need him to continue to grow. Jordan Bowser at receiver. Zan Woods has done really good things at receiver and quarter. But overall, Ja'Cory Gentry is the defensive end, offensive guard for us, has done a lot of really good things. So our kids they're practicing hard. They're showing up every day. They're doing everything that we ask them to do. We're going to control what we can control and try to grow and get to where we can be competitive as fast as possible.
There you go. And one of the things, with Kirkwood is, and with any brand new school, really, is you're pulling from multiple different places. So, a lot of these guys, you're going to have some Rossview kids and, you're going to have some Northeast kids, maybe a couple other pulling from other spots here and there. How has it been trying to, get kids to integrate from these different schools and try to get them to, not be, former Rossview players, not former Northeast players, but coming together and becoming current Cobras?
So far, man, it's been a really smooth transition. We had kind of the kickoff of the summer. We did just a thing like some type of little ceremony that we did to kind of put the past behind each other. And I told them, I don't want us every Friday night, me as a coach, I don't need to be talking about things at Gallatin or my stops at Northeast. And same way, those kids shouldn't be talking about Rossview and Northeast. Our focus right now, we're so far behind, is our focus has got to be Kirkwood and worrying about us. And we're going to treat those 2 schools just like every other opponent. That game week, we're going to prepare and we're going to try to go out and play the best we can play, but our focus has got to be on us.
You said you did a little bit of a ceremony. What was that like?
It was just a little get together right off the bat. We had practice that morning. We came in, Thursday night. We had a local church that fed our guys, and we just more or less hung out and started bonding as a team and just talked about getting a clean slate and putting our past behind us, whether it was good or bad, moving on and starting something special.
Well, that is good to hear. So, looking at Kirkwood's schedule, I'm not sure if you guys have started, looking at week one quite yet with, still a scrimmage and the Jamboree coming up. But Sycamore week one, that'll be on the road. And then you guys get that first ever game at your school on Friday, August 25th, Montgomery Central. Is that something that you guys have maybe started to, think about, look ahead to it all?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard good things from Sycamore and their scrimmage. I've heard they had a really good showing against Harpeth. I know Central and Kenwood have scrimmaged. I haven't seen much on that or heard much on that, but mainly right now our focus is us. But we know, like, with our schedule week in and week out, we're going to have to play really, really good competition. But we'll start preparing for, like, this week in preseason camps. We've kind of been trying to give our guys different fronts and different offenses that we think we'll see over the course of the season. We'll continue to do that for the rest of the week. But all next week and the week of week one will be strictly Sycamore. So we'll spend 2 weeks on those guys.
Yeah, there you go. And I've seen a lot of positive reinforcement, a lot of positive dialogue surrounding you guys from your, preseason opponents, from supporters of the school. What's it been like just being able to get that positive feedback, knowing that, yeah, I know that, like, things can be difficult coaching, especially at first year school, but, hearing that you guys are, doing some things the right way here.
Man, it's always good. You want to be around positive people, and we've had that conversation with our kids. Like, man, you live one life, like, so why not live it with positivity and have a positive outlook on what you got? I mean, all these kids were in middle school when COVID happened, and everything that you took for granted was taken away. So, like, firsthand, like, how blessed you are to get to come out here and get to play football. So, like, don't waste a day. Just be positive about it. You have a tough day. Tomorrow's going to be a new day, and we're going to be better. So that's just kind of the mindset that I want our coaches and how we want to speak into our kids.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. And let's talk looks. You guys are getting those uniforms in. I'm sure getting numbers handed out. How do those Kirkwood uniforms look?
They look good. We're actually going to film a little jersey release tomorrow. So hopefully that'll be out here in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure that's going to be looking pretty cool. You look good, play good. So that's good to hear. Now, as we look forward to this season, and we're only, it's crazy to think we're only 2 weeks away from, that first Friday night. I'm sure that you can hardly wait. I'm sure these kids can hardly wait. What are you looking forward to most about this season?
Man, just getting to be around the guys and getting to coach them and see how much they grow. Like, that's the main thing for this season. We just want to see us be better week 10 than we were week 1. And I think they're working hard. And if we continue to do what we're doing, despite our record, I think we're going to continue to get better.
Definitely. And do you think it's exciting for these kids and for you even to be in a all Clarksville region where, the Dixon County, of course, in there too, but, almost every week you're going to be playing a school from right down the road?
Yeah, it's really exciting for the kids. They're going to be playing games every Friday nights against their buddies in the city. I think it's really going to help attendance. I know it's going to help everybody's budget, not having to travel near as far. I think it's a win-win situation all across the board.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, as we kind of wrap up here, I'm curious if you guys have talked expectations, for this season. I know you talked about wanting to get better each week, but have you guys talked about, maybe what some goals are for this first year?
Yeah, I mean, the big goal we're chasing is there's only been one school that was a brand new school that opened up that's ever made the playoffs year one, and that was Nolensville. And I think it was either 2019 or 2017. So that's one goal that the seniors and the team agreed upon that we want to chase. And with that being said, Nolensville didn't have a winning record that year, so we're trying to be the first school to have a winning record year one and make the playoffs. And that may seem like a stretch to a lot of people, but we would rather strive for big goals, and we're gonna chase that, and we're gonna go after it.
Absolutely love to hear it. And, that's definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on all year, see if Kirkwood can make some history year one. Chad, thanks so much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you out there here soon.
Thanks, Bray. Appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you. We're going to step away real quick here for a 3-minute break. When we come back, we're going to kind of look ahead at some things coming up here, Jamboree, some scrimmages this week, and maybe talk a little baseball trade deadline. Hang tight.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
I'm so excited about this new show.
Dino Trek is back again this year. It's bigger than we've ever had it before.
When they're about 5 months old, we'll start seeing them sticking their head out of the pouch, or you might see a foot come out or a tail.
It's like an Airbnb for Joey's. Now, you're not going to see all three of them together because cats in general don't get along unless it's time to get along, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Well, we're 2/3 of the way there. It's animals, nature, and fun. That's what we're all about. But during that time, we hope that you also learn something, that you're inspired to want to learn something.
What's new at the zoo with Jim Bar 2?
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Welcome back to MSP Clarksville. My name is Brady McTamney. Thank you again to Chad Watson for coming on the show, joining us to talk a little Kirkwood Cobras. Always good to talk some high school football, especially as we're only 2 weeks away from the start of the season. That is just crazy to me. Seems like spring fling was just yesterday. It wasn't. This summer is flying by. I know you guys probably agree with that, especially if you're the ones getting back in the classroom here soon. So it's definitely an exciting time here. But let's talk a little bit about what's coming up here. We got a lot of scrimmages coming up here this week on August 4th, Friday. As we mentioned, Kirkwood had played a scrimmage against Maplewood on Tuesday. So that was one already that's happened this week. Looking ahead to Friday, we've got Stratford, small school in Nashville, visiting Northeast. That'll be Northeast's final home game scrimmage before Jamboree next week. Kirkwood is hitting the road again. They're going to be facing East Robertson. So, a kind of what's been a bit of a powerhouse here this last couple years, as they have the Groves family, who has just absolutely been dominating the area. Cheatham is going to be visiting Northwest. So Ray Payne, his team, looking to get a little bit of work there against a relatively local school in Cheatham County. Cheatham County College. I always have Cheatham CC in there, so I always think of it in my head, in my calendar, I should say. So I always think of it in my head as Cheatham Community College. I know that's obviously Cheatham County Central. That's the one. So Cheatham County Central in there again at Northwest. Maplewood, who just faced Kirkwood, is now going to be getting another taste of Clarksville schools. They're going to be facing Kenwood. So similar name, different play styles. Jacoby Cox, the starting quarterback for Kenwood, a guy who I think has a chance to have a really nice year. Kenwood's got a chance to be a fun team to watch this year. We'll see how they do against Maplewood. And then a team from the Lebanon area, Mount Juliet, is going to be visiting Clarksville High on Friday. You might see me there if you decide to show up to that one. Going to be there getting some coverage of that as well as some photos. And another school that we're going to have some coverage of, Greenbrier at West Creek. So the Coyotes getting a little bit of practice against a Robertson County foe. Greenbrier, of course, a team that's been just an elite defense the last couple of years. So that's going to be very fun test for Rob Galowitz's team with the Coyotes. So looking forward to seeing what happens there and seeing what goes on, see how these teams looking before the Jamborees next week, which of course we'll discuss when the time comes. Now, as we have a couple minutes left here, I want to talk about the MLB trade deadline. I know if you follow me on Twitter at Brady_MSP, you've already seen my thoughts on kind of what the Tigers did, maybe didn't do. Being a Tigers fan, I'm probably going to discuss them probably a little bit more than others. Of course, there were some big trades, like of course Justin Verlander being traded back to the Houston Astros for a couple of pretty good prospects. If you're a Braves fan, you're probably loving what has happened with the Mets, as they have just completely fallen apart despite having the highest payroll of all time. So pretty crazy thing what's happening there, as they've had to trade both Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, but they got some pretty good prospects in return. Jack Flaherty, pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, being traded to the Baltimore Orioles. I know people are fans of both teams around here, so that's a relatively popular one that I'm sure people have been talking about, a relevant one, I should say. But like I said, I'll talk about the Tigers a little bit. They had really 4 players that were expected to be traded in Michael Lorenzen, pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez, a left-handed pitcher who's actually on the mound right now. As I record this, Jose Cisnero and Chase Shreve, both relievers. All those players on expiring contract, except for Eduardo Rodriguez, who is expected to opt out of his contract this week, or rather after this season. They traded Lorenzen to the Philadelphia Phillies. They got Hao-Yu Kim, a second baseman who will be reporting to High A West Michigan. Got a pretty solid hitting profile. He's kind of a smaller guy, but makes solid contact, line drives, draws some walks, doesn't strike out a lot. So definitely fits the type of profile that the team has been searching for in players. And there was a trade agreed to for Eduardo Rodriguez to head to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I say it was agreed to because it didn't go through. The Dodgers were surprised to learn that Eduardo Rodriguez denied that trade. He has them on his 10-team no-trade list. So despite, the Dodgers being one of the best teams in baseball, again, for, it seems like they've been the last decade, despite them being in the beautiful LA climate. That trade did not happen, and people are confused by that for many reasons. One, why would Eduardo Rodriguez want to stay with a team who is not winning anything this year in the Tigers? Well, why would he decline a trade to a team that plays in beautiful California? Fair question. Why is Scott Harris, the Detroit Tigers president of baseball operations and acting GM, talking to the Dodgers when Eduardo Rodriguez can say, sorry, don't want to go there? All valid questions. All valid questions that I don't necessarily have answers to. Eduardo Rodriguez apparently wants to stay closer to the East Coast, which, Detroit's not necessarily the East Coast, but it's certainly closer than California. For his family. People were thinking, maybe it's his wife. I obviously can't say because I don't know him personally. But the whole thing was a bit of a headache. And because of that trade, they ended up not being able, or because of that trade falling through, they ended up not being able to trade Rodriguez. So at the end of this year, because they can't put a qualifying offer on him, he has already received one from the Boston Red Sox when the Tigers signed him before the 2022 season. He can walk away after this season for no return from the Tigers. So very, very frustrating for Tigers fans. Of course, Jason Shreve and Jose Cisnero were not traded either. Those are two guys who will also be free agents after the season. Maybe they'll look to extend them, maybe not. Neither pitcher's having a great season this year, so maybe there just wasn't that much interest in them. It's possible. I'm sure some teams could have maybe with Cisnero having a track record of having, quality innings and Shreve being a left-handed pitcher, which, there's not necessarily an abundance of for some of these competing teams. But overall, a very frustrating time to be a Tigers fan. At least I would say so. It's frustrating because the fans have kind of gotten used to the team bungling things with former GM Al Avila. And it's ironic because he kind of had his hand in this trade deadline too, because he's the one who signed Eduardo Rodriguez to this contract. He's the one who gave him this opt-out after the second year. If that opt-out wasn't there, perhaps they're not discussing Rodriguez with teams. And if they are, then he's fetching a lot more, and he's a way more popular trade piece because he has those years of team control. And he's also the one who gave him that no trade clause. So if it weren't for that no trade clause, then he's on the Dodgers right now, and the Tigers get whichever prospects that they agreed to. My favorite thing that I saw talked about on Twitter is it's going to be fun in 4 years from now or 5, 6, 7 years from now when we hear that, hey, this player is actually going to go to the Tigers in that Eduardo Rodriguez trade, and all he's done now is, win MVP, or now he's made an all-star game, wins a Silver Slug or whatever, because that's just kind of how things work with the Tigers. It's a fun time, but not the end of the world. We'll see what happens with the team going forward. They didn't really do anything this trade deadline to make the team any better for next year, which is kind of what the hope was. Perhaps Eduardo Rodriguez will either opt in or they can rework that contract to make it so he does stay around. That's one thing that I think I'd like to see them do, just because, if you're not going to trade him, then you don't want to let him walk away for nothing. So you want to maybe keep him around because he is a good pitcher, and that's why he had trade interest in the first place. But anyway, I could go on about this for hours, and I know really none of you want to hear that. So we're going to wrap the show up there. Next week, we're going to be talking more high school football, talking about some of the scrimmages that are happening this week. Probably going to, of course, get some more guests coming on, and maybe talk little soccer and volleyball as the season ramps up in the coming weeks. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And again, thank you to Chad Watson for joining the show today. I've been Brady McTamney here on MSP Clarksville. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Brady_MSP, and I'll talk to you again next week.